in the house, and we're having a conversation today on the secrets to scaling. And this is a really important conversation because I know, you may be watching this right now and find yourself at times, grinding and hustling and working your butt off while you're still taking care of other responsibilities with the kids and with other work. And there's really some key secrets to whether it's leverage your time and really be able to scale your business and help even more people. So we're excited to jump into this conversation with Leland today. Without further ado, welcome, my friend.
Hello, sir, and hello, everybody. So I realize now that if I do this just right, I've got my hat spinning. I'll try to make that. So, let's talk about the secrets to scaling. And so, what's cool about you and I, since you've been online, like we've kind of gone from, I've got to see you grow and scale. And, Sarah Beth has gone from small to scaling. And so it's kind of like everybody wants to scale. They always want more. And they think, and so the first question that I want to talk about would be why scale? Right. And so, you're one of those people who's very mission driven, purpose driven. You love coaching, you want impact. And so your reasons to scale are very clear, right? I mean, you want to impact more lives. So in order to do that, you need to reach more lives. That's what scaling is. And so, but you're willing to commit and to do what's necessary in order to scale. And scaling's not right for everybody. And so the first thing that I like to bring up when people say oh, how do I scale? It's more about, what's your primary aim with your business and with your life, right? Because your business should serve your primary aim in your life, right? Yeah. So there's Happy Jack Yoga, which is this business thing, but really that's just a vehicle for Jack to create more impact.
Yeah.
Right. And so before you even think about scaling, people need to get really clear on, what's their why? Why are they doing the business in the first place?
So I was just going to say, that's really good when not only getting clear on our why, but what exactly is it that we want to scale? Because I know yes, we love that we get to do the work we do. And I remember at one time, I opened up my calendar with Calendly and I made myself fully available. And I just started taking coaching appointments all the time. And I was just nonstop, from the time I got up till the end of the day coaching. I thought that's what I wanted, but that's not exactly how I wanted to spend my time, because I was actually limited, right? With one-on-one coaching of how many people that I could help. So it was actually learning. It's actually what I don't want to do is fill my schedule and have a whole bunch of commitments, but rather, what we've done now, create a community where through the group community and through masterminding and working together, we can help so many more people. So I think it's a great question to really think about, your calendar, how you want to spend your time before you start talking about scaling.
Yeah, because for people who have scaled successfully, but that's not what they want, they basically are entrapping themselves in their business, and then as you play that out, you're going to end up resenting your business. You're going to end up resenting your customers. You're going to end up resenting everything about why you started in the beginning, because you're off purpose, right? Yep. The thing that you created to create your dream life has now, trapped you. And that's a common tale, right? So the next thing that I wrote down is, so the first thing is your primary aim, right? And the next thing is, figuring out, is scaling worth it? And as long as you have an answer for that, then the next thing that I always teach people or say that people need is systems. So the thing that makes people who are not successful, let's talk about scaling, getting more customers, more leads, bigger business. The biggest thing that people need is they need systems. So you need a system to take somebody from not a customer to becoming a customer, right? That's really all it is. And ideally you have lots of those systems. So some of the systems that we talk about, in the YBB with the Yoga Boss Business Training and some of the systems that Jack uses and Sarah Beth use is just a regular free gift email funnel, right? So offered them something for free, grab their email list, and then send them 4 or 5 emails, add lots of value, and then you can automatically make a sale, right? And that's a form of leverage. And so if you're going to scale, the first thing you need is one system, right? And so the system can be automatic emails, but another form of a system is just, when am I going to upload? Right? When am I going to go live? Right? Are you going to upload once per week? Right? And then you just commit to that, because that's the system. You're adding more content. You're growing your content, your authority. You're growing everything online, and that's another system that we know works, and it's consistent effort. Right? Shocking system and path to success. Jack, so I know, because you've grown pretty fast in the last couple of years, what are some of the systems that you have implemented for yourself to make things easier for you to scale? So you've avoided some of the traps with scaling.
I was on mute. The first thing that I would say is just to reiterate the power and the potential of opt-in pages, of essentially gathering emails and getting leads. And it's interesting, because sometimes working with yogis, working with yoga teachers, we want to get so focused on, the art and the creation and being the artist and delivering the magic. And it's so important to get these systems in place. And, if I was on a call right now with all, 250 members of Happy Jack Yoga University, I could look at them and be like, every single one of you is here because you opted in with your email. Every single person. And so they might not realize that. Some of them actually, came through Sarah Beth Yoga, and Sarah Beth said, hey, my friend Happy Jack's doing this thing, and they opted in. Or they came through our Instagram or our Facebook, and we said, hey, we got this cool thing, opt in for the details. Or even for all the years before we really took it online, I would go, doing workshop to yoga conference to yoga festival. And I had a manual opt-in process. At the end of the workshop, I said, hey, it was so amazing to do this time with you. If you enjoyed it, write down your name, your email, and I'll send you this super cool gift. So it's getting these systems in place, whether you're doing it old school, meeting people in person, or now we have such an opportunity to be able to leverage the online platform. So it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah, well, and one of the things you said that you sort of breezed over is having a list, right? And so when people are going to scale, right, like the most important thing is just having a list. And when you got started, this is like the big question that we always get in the YBB and in the training is, what software do I use? Right. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter as long as you're building a list. One of the reasons why you've been so successful, in my opinion, as you've gone online is because you actually had this list that you had literally built by hand. And once you have that list, then it's leverage, right? The whole goal is to get more leverage whenever you're going to scale. So leverage used to come in the form of labor, right? So you have people working for you. And I know Happy Jack Yoga does use that form of leverage, right? And Sarah Beth Yoga uses that form of leverage. But labor leverage for scaling is actually the worst kind of leverage. It's the most expensive. It's the least productive, right? It
takes the most time.
The most time.
It's fun. Like there's an art, we as artists or as yogis, we love it. Like I got a message not long ago from somebody who was on my email list, and they said, I met you on a train in Hong Kong like 9 years ago. So like for the more than a decade now, every person I meet, I've been conditioned, hey, have a great meaningful connection, somehow a connection to yoga. Let's exchange email, get them on the list. And as fun as that was, it was very slow, right? It took 10 years to build a decent list. And now to be able to see that list getting bigger, yesterday we got 79 new emails. And it's like, there's no way, especially with COVID, there's no way I would have been able to get out and have a meaningful conversation with 79 people and be here in this office running the business. So that's the cool thing about being able to get these systems in place. And it doesn't start with 79. I know, Sarah Beth gets hundreds, but it's like just getting them in place, and all of our email or all of our YouTube videos and social media posts to drive people. And it's all about adding value, right? So we're not, the worst thing, and I've seen people at yoga conferences do it. They're like, hey, at the end of the class, hey, if you want to sign up to my email list, write your name down. And it's like crickets. Nobody wants to get on another email list, right? We all get enough newsletters. So it's about what value can we add? What can we teach them? What problem can we solve genuinely, authentically? And then say, hey, here, I've got a cool little tip for you. I got a cool little helpful strategy to put your name in your email, and I'll share it with you. And then it's somebody who's interested in the things that we do, and they may not convert right away. Like one of our another example, somebody from Minnesota, which is where you're from, Leland, hopped on our email list like in 2015, and it wasn't until 2017 that she saw an email where I was out in British Columbia snowboarding with Tony Robbins, and Bill Clinton was there. It was just a really cool experience. And she's like, whoa, I've been following this guy for a couple of years, and that had her reach out. And then she ended up coming to Mexico, India, Finland, all over the place. But anyways, the point is that it's just good to build that list, and then they become a part of what you're doing. And whether it's the next day or the next year or the next decade, who knows, but this is what we want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's more powerful to do it the way you did it. It's always more powerful if you're one-on-one building it, right? But at scale, it's really hard to scale that way. So I think the misperception about scaling that people have is going from 0 to 1 is basically the same strategy from going to 0 to 79, right? Like the stuff that you're doing to get 79 today isn't wildly different from the first email that you did or first thing you put together to collect an email online. It's just, that's how scaling works. It's the same system. It's the basics, right? Over and over and over again, consistently. And so what did you do, if you don't mind sharing, to get 79 yesterday?
Yeah, I don't mind. To be fair, part of it, a big part of it was Sarah Beth Yoga sent out an email to her members and said, hey, my friends at Happy Jack Yoga are going to Peru, and I'm going to be going. My team is going to be going. If you want to join me, click the link. So maybe a good learning there for scaling is partnering up with complementary businesses, right? Finding people who believe in what you believe and who align, and it's not competing offerings, but it's complementary. And so to be fair, like we actually, I would say normally we would get like 20 to, like a normal day is like 20 new leads. And so for us to get 79, a big part of that was Sarah sending out her email, which is just great for everybody.
Yeah. And even what's funny about the other myths about scaling, that's what we could have called it, the myths about scaling. For those who've never been a part of a Happy Jack Yoga program, like they're amazing. And Sarah and I have been to your programs in India, and because we know that you provide a very high value to everybody, it's easy for her to recommend you. It's easy for anybody who's been to your programs to recommend you. So really, one of the dirty secrets of scaling is to be really good at what you do, like be the best in the world. I know people, it's like, how do you become a top earner in your industry if you're a job or a career route? Well, it's like, well, you need to be a top performer, because the top performers are going to make the most money, and then there's a scale. And so one of the big secrets to scaling, and really, if I was to distill it down to two things, it's quantity and quality, right? Is that you need a really high quality offer, and then you just need to scale. You need quantity. You need a lot of things out there doing work for you. A lot of videos collecting leads, a lot of affiliates, right? A lot of podcasts generating emails. But you can't be an underperformer or a poor coach or, cutting corners and scale, because it just won't work. The market rewards people who add value to it.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's really important for people who are, and I'm totally guilty of this too, where you start a business and you want to jump the gun and you want to go from 0 to 100 subscribers or paying members, but you're not taking care of the 1 or 2 that are in front of you. Right. Yeah. And going from, right, it doesn't get easier. It's the same.
And that,
Right.
just on that point, like we have to be realistic about what we commit to. So you'll remember, Leland, like we started working together in 2019, and in the beginning, Happy Jack Yoga, we committed to 3 videos per week, and we were doing like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and for some months we did that, and we were ahead of the curve. And then we're like, whoa, this is a bit much, and we scaled back to 1 per week, and which was great. And then, to be honest, now 2020 that just happened, or yeah, this year, I should say, 2021 now, we now, because we've been able to inspire like a really, hundreds of people to join the university, now our first priority is taking care of our existing members. And so what that means is, so much time and energy and effort and love is going into creating the curriculum for the existing members. We've slipped on our consistent YouTube schedule, and we can recognize that. I know that in April that's going to get back on track, and this is where it's like juggling. It's like, where do we put the effort? But what we're talking about right now, scaling, the key is definitely the consistent content, putting it out there with the strategic call to action, so that you can build your list, so you can build your community. And then maybe you get to a place where I am, where it's like, okay, now I got to take care of the community, and then the growth slows, and eventually, Sarah Beth and others, out there, where it's like you can have full on take care of the community and full on growth, and pedal to the metal on both. And I guess you could say, in Tony's language, that's like zone of maximization, right? It's like you've got everything optimized, but in the beginning, we're toddlers, we're infants, and maybe we get to be teenagers, and it's a journey to the peak. But what we're talking about here is what's going to get us there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so one of the things that just to tie up the different ways that you can scale, right? So the first way is labor. And so you can have employees, right? And affiliates might be considered employees as well. You can have money. So like if you're trying to scale your yoga business, you can just buy it. You can buy paid ads, you can use money, and you can pay to grow your business. Money is another form of leverage. But what's cool about the internet is what is permissionless leverage, right? You can create a YouTube video, you can create a podcast, you can do a live stream like we're doing right now. And it's leverage where we can coach and teach a lot of people at once. And all 79 of those people, in your case yesterday, can get your offer, hear it, get value out of it. And we don't need an employee to agree to work for us. We don't need somebody to agree to give us money, or we don't need to risk our own capital. We can just, roll up our sleeves and do the work. And if you teach and if you add value, then the name of the game is just quantity. It's getting lots of value out there, and then, organizing that quantity into those systems that we talked about that turn people from not a customer to a customer. And so like scaling, Jack, when you think about, going from 0 to 1 to 79 yesterday, your plan to get to, 1,000 in one day, or, maybe 10 or 20,000 in a day, how much different, or what do you think you need to do in order to have that, to close that gap to 10x? Let's just use the generic 10x term.
It's a great question. I mean, essentially, it's what it is. It's building the systems that actually work, that convert, that get the opt-ins, and then scaling it. And it's kind of obvious, but I'll elaborate on that. So right now we're just getting started with some Facebook advertising, and so we have a few different funnels, you can say, where we're adding a ton of value, like to really help new yogis, to help people, in their yoga education. We've tried a few different of these Facebook ads. We're working with our mutual friend, Ben, and we're eventually gonna see like which ones get the best conversions. And really our goal is to break even on these Facebook ads. So we're not trying to, build a business on Facebook ads and like sell from there. But if we can get 100 new emails, and one person, heck, if we get 1,000, like one membership would pay for, like, say 300 emails or something like that. So if 300 people who opt in, if just one of them signs up for a university, then it's broken even. So it's really about finding the funnels, finding the pathways that convert, that work well, that add value to the client and helps them continue their journey to the offer. And then it'll be doubling down on that. It's a really good question, Leland, because it's like, yeah, our goal is 1,000 members, and so we've got to go from 250 to 1,000. It's depending on how you look at it, it's a big gap. It's a 4x, and if we just keep doing what we're doing, we're really pleased, we're really blessed, and it'll be a slow progressive growth there. So we've got to really do something radically different. And it's, as you talk about, Leland, it's about testing stuff. So we're going to test the Facebook ads. We've also got this 3 secrets to become a successful yoga teacher. It's essentially a 2-day mini training, which gives people the experience of Happy Jack Yoga University for the price of $17, like $17 for basically a 2-day mini training where we'll blow their mind. And they get to experience the coaching, the Zoom breakout rooms, the everything that we do. And then that'll just be a great funnel. So I guess I'm jumping all around the place here, but it's
no. I wanted to tie this in because the fact that you're jumping around goes directly to my last point, is that, we talked about some of the principles with scaling, but everybody wants a prescription. Do this, do that, do this. But that does not exist, because every business has got these different variables, Jack's team, the offer, right? And so what people need to do is be willing to just forge their own path, right? You need a system, you need quality content, and then you need quality content. But beyond that, exactly like you're saying, you need to be just testing a bunch of stuff, figuring out what works, listen to everybody, but make your own decisions, right? Like, but the fact that you're jumping around is 100% where you should be. And that's one of the reasons why you've been successful in the last, since, always probably been successful. But there is no perfect path. But the one thing I would say, just you and me learning kind of from our experience with the YBB, we've had lots of success with proximity partners. And so looking at what we would do to double or triple down, I would say, okay, I would go to other proximity partners and say, I have this one proximity partner who's making $2,000 or $3,000 a month. They're a little bigger than you, they're whatever it would be. But you could go get more proximity partners, because you would want to double. If you do an 80-20 analysis, right? This is how I think about the YBB. Or if I'm coaching somebody, 80-20, where are all your leads coming from right now? And then how can you double down, triple down on what you're doing, while also testing a bunch of stuff all the time, right? But, you and I have had conversations privately about the YBB, and we just do such a good job with proximity partners and people referring us that's where our focus should be. And
if I just want to add on that, and we have to be willing to put ourselves out there and be vulnerable and be willing to ask for that partnership and not be attached to it. We're so blessed to be partnered with Sarah Beth Yoga, with you guys, and it's helped our business grow and helped us impact so many more people, and it's like a gift. You walked into our lives 2 years ago, but there's also a lot of other people that I've wanted to proximity partner with Tony Robbins for 6 years now, and it hasn't happened per se in a business partnership, sort of way, and that's okay. Like, my feelings are not hurt, but we have to just keep putting ourselves out there, and then eventually we'll find the right alignment that makes sense.
And we've been on both sides of it, right? And so I know from Sarah Beth, there are people who would be perfect fits to be proximity partners with her, but if the timing's off, they just won't get in the door. And we don't want them to be offended, right? But we've got our family, and so for people who are haven't done sales jobs or aren't used to as much rejection as maybe the people who have gone, you're going to get rejected a lot, right? And so, but if you go and reach out to 100 proximity partners and you're building those relationships in a long-term way, then you can grow really rapidly. That's one of the ways Russell Brunson built ClickFunnels. It was a Dream 100 list, personal videos, and then you can use other people's lists, other people's leverage, and other people's products if you want. All right. So secrets of scaling. So I've got quantity over quality. Well, let's start from the beginning. So the first thing is that make sure that if you want to scale, it's worth it, right? for
Yeah.
whatever you're trying to do. Don't go chasing the bigger, faster, more money thing, especially on the internet, because that's a rabbit hole that is not. You're never going to win it on the internet, because there's always somebody that's going to be making more money than you. But also, you don't want to create something that doesn't serve your primary aim in life. So with Jack's all about impact. All of his actions are around creating more impact, changing more lives, creating more transformation. But different for everybody. So for you, it might be, for someone else, it might be make $10,000 and pay for your mortgage, or make $50,000 and donate it all to a charity. And, everyone's got their own motivations, but you got to figure out what your primary aim is. And then your business should serve that. And then you should decide if you want to scale. If you end up scaling, you have to have a system. You actually want to have lots of systems, but you have to have a system that goes from not a customer to a customer, right? And it could be, there are a million of them, right? Jack, we talk about that. There's free gifts, there's free challenges, there's free coaching calls, there's free webinars, there's free live streams, there's $1 products, $30 products, all the way up to $5,000 products. And so you need to have quality products, and then you need systems to sell those quality products, right? A bunch of automatic systems. And then you need a lot of content. It's just easier if you have a lot of content that's generating leads for you, right? And all of that, then, to really simplify, all of that's designed around growing you a really big email list, right? Yeah. And so however you can grow or hack it, where you can grow a really good email list that's high quality, that's the quickest path to scaling. Mm-hmm. And the quickest way to doing that is having something of value, which we talk a lot about. Like, what's your transformation statement when you're reaching out to your proximity partners who have bigger lists? What's your proposition to them? Like, why should they help you? What are you going to do for their audience? What are you going to do for their business? Yeah. And so quantity over quality, make sure that's in line with your primary aim. Make sure you know that it's worth it. Create lots of systems, figure out which ones work, and then just double down, right? That you're one funnel away, which is actually, in my experience, is very true. Yeah. And then listen to prescriptions, but don't follow them. Don't be don't become obsessed with prescriptions. I need to upload 1 time per week or I'm a failure, or I need to email 3 times per week, or I need to go live. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Just be consistent, right? Just keep going forward. And that's really the biggest, and test things, right? I mean, there's no perfect path, but overall, Jack, are there any other, we got about 30 seconds more. We can.
Yeah. I mean, I would just add on that, like, everything you said is so spot on. And the key is to have patience, and that's why it's so important that we do what we love, because we're talking about scaling, yes, but it's still going to take time and it's going to take effort. And at the end of every day at 5 p.m. when I turn my phone on airplane mode, because I've been hustling all day long, there's a feeling of like, wow, I feel so fulfilled. I got so much done, and there's so much left to do. And so it's important that we're able to have patience and that we're doing what we love. So even though we're not done yet, just where we are right now, we can celebrate this. So that's really key.
Yeah, Naval Ravikant has the quote that says, impatience with actions, patience with results. And so, you want to be taking action all the time, but you, sort of like you were saying, you want to be unattached to the result. Just put in the work, focus on the process. And that's the biggest path to scaling and to growing a successful business.
That's it.
Cool. We'll wrap this one up. If you guys have any questions, or you want to join the Yoga Boss business training and get probably, what would we say, Jack? The world's best yoga business coaching in the entire, maybe the universe's best business coaching.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we went from, as we went from our live business, or our live event business, which was thriving, to boom, went to zero overnight because of COVID. And then because of how you helped us, Leland, and just putting into place the Yoga Boss business curriculum. Now we're crushing it again and just getting started. So definitely, if you want some details, click the link for Yoga Boss Business. I'm sure we'll have an opt-in, really. And by the way, you even just experience it. Click the link to opt in, see how we are scaling our business. You know, you're gonna opt in, you're gonna get an email, which is gonna add a ton of value. You'll be presented an offer. You're welcome to join. And even if you don't, you get to see how this works. So definitely invite you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everybody, for your time. And we will talk again next week.